In this lecture, we'll have a look at how to compose an email using n8n. So let's go to our n8n. Click on Create Workflow. And in here, we're going to just put a new trigger that's called Trigger Manually. Why? Because we want to trigger this workflow when I click on it. Like literally, when I click on this test flow, then it runs, and then I will have an email compose workflow here. So therefore, we pick trigger workflow. Later on, if I take you back to the overall plan here, later on the compose workflow of the work will happen through the voice interface. So right now it's just based on the click to make our life easier and just get to the point. Then click on this, click on Gmail. When you go to Gmail, then you should see a create a draft option. When you click on create a draft option, you will see right now a Gmail account that's already there, but you can create a new one. Click on create new one, and then keep this OAuth, which is a recommended option. Then you need these two important elements, client ID and client secret. Now you need to go to a website called GCP console. Basically write GCP console on the Google. You should be able to go to GCP console like this. After that, select the right email address that you want to use for this. I'm going to use my SmartGeeks email address. And then after that, create a project here. Click on create new project. I'm going to call it Samantha inbox. Click create. It will take some time to create this project in here. Once it's done, then click on select project. You should have it here. And then the very first option that you would need to do is go to consent screen, OAuth consent screen. Once you're there, then click on get started. Give your app a name. I'm going to call it Samantha Inbox Manager. Give it an email address. I'm going to give it the email address of a@smartgeeks.io. I'll click next. Internal, next. The contact info here can be a@smartgeeks.io. Click next, click finish, I agree, and then click on continue, click on create. This will take some time to create this. A lot of tutorials will skip one important part, which is the audience part. Since this is an app that is not published yet, therefore you need to go to audience, and then you need to add certain email addresses here. But before you do that, you need to create a client. So click on clients, create client, select from here web application. Let's give this Samantha Inbox Manager. And then this is a very important part. So this authorized redirect URIs is the value that you will get from these workflows. Remember, here we had this one. So I'm going to click this, add it here, and then click on create. So now you got yourself a client ID and a client secret. They're supposed to be secret, so keep it secret. I'll delete it later. For now, I'm going to just move these two information here and this one in here. Okay, now this is almost done, but there is one small problem that I still need to do an entry in the audience part. So in the audience part, when you're doing it for testing, then you need to make sure that you have added the email addresses that are supposed to be for test. Here on the add email address, I'm gonna use a@smartgeeks.io. Save it. Okay. So now I'm pretty much set from here, but when I click on sign in, you should see this consent screen. And after clicking on allow, you basically give permission to n8n to access your Gmail account. And now you have basically connected your Gmail with n8n, but still you need to enable a few more APIs on Google Cloud Platform. Let's go quickly do that. So if I close this, we don't need to do much on n8n anymore. If I create a test email type and then test here, and then click on test step, you will see this error. And the reason is because those APIs are not enabled. So you can see the message here that says, if you enable this API recently. So what are those APIs that's important? Let's go back to the cloud platform here. Gmail API would be one of them. And whenever you're working with n8n, think about that, like what other API is it using, or ask ChatGPT, it will give you the right answers. If I enable this Gmail API, all the configurations we have done was correct, but because this Gmail API was not enabled, this workflow was failing. If I click on test, now you can see that it passed. It created a draft email. If I go in my Gmail inbox and I pick this draft email, drafts, I will quickly bring it onto the other screen in a minute. Here we go. 10:14 p.m., 10:14 p.m., we created a test subject and test body. So basically that is the very simple steps on how you can create a simple draft message. Each time I click on this, it executes. And if I go and check my email, it will create another draft because I clicked that. So the entire workflow works like that. Let's have a quick recap on what we have done so far. So we did a very detailed introduction of n8n. We had a greater detailed look at what are AI agent nodes in n8n. And we just finished composing an email using n8n. We will look at webhooks later, especially this kind of a architecture that we have in place. Webhook will create a great bridging role. It will basically connect Vapi with n8n, and then we'll take this piece of workflow that we created that composes emails, and then we take the Vapi and then connect them together, and then basically we can talk to microphone and compose emails. And then basically we will be able to carry on to finish this part one, which is composing emails. Until then, thank you so much for listening. See you in the next lecture.